So welcome friends. I welcome you all to all three channels. So are you Ketu, Kitanshu Bhaiya, Dipanshu Giriji from Lunar Astro and myself Aman Bedi from Aman Bedi Astrology. And I think as you can see a very big smile on my face because of these two guests. One is Gitanshu Bhaiya and one is Dipanshu Giriji from Lunar Astro, just like I have mentioned. And they both need no introduction at all because they have done enough work in their personal life or in their professional life in front of you. So you all very well know about them. So welcome Dipanshu ji, welcome Gitanshu ji,
Thank you, Aman.
right? And Happy New Year to both of you actually, and Happy New Year to all of you. So how are you?
Thank you.
How are you all?
We're good, Aman. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm somehow survived the 2020 as we all did. So I want to tell the audience that there were many segments which I wanted to cover in 2020, which I wanted to do with Gintanshu Bhaiya and Dipanshu ji. But because of the timing or because of the time difference, we never came across with the mutual time. But in 2021, indeed, it was a very good year to start with. I have both of them in front of me. And I would like to discuss a very special topic today, which is nakshatras, which is, I can say, very close to my heart. Because what I have seen, there are certain astrologers, there are certain researchers who do very well in KP. Certain astrologers do very good in Gemini. But when I see Gitanshu Bhaiya, when I see Dipanshu ji, I think they are master, I would say, in all these streams. And I'm trying to learn my tidbits from them wherever I can and whenever I can. So I would like to get or I would like to know more about how they see nakshatras, the basic definition behind that, how they, when we talk about the Vedic astrology, how they see nakshatras, what is the importance of nakshatras, why we need to study them, what exactly the nakshatras tell us, what our Vedas tell us, what our scriptures tell us about nakshatras. Because when I heard a lot of, or when I read a lot of good articles from Dipanshu ji, we share, I felt the connection because we share the same ideology, which I can say or which I can relate with Gitanshu Bhaiya teaching as well. So I really felt connected with Dipanshu ji and I requested him to come with us and join us in this session and talk more about nakshatra. So Dipanshu ji, again, I welcome you and I
Thank
would
you, Aman.
like to know how you see nakshatras on a very basic level and what are the importance, why we need to know them.
Okay, Aman, I will start this session by praising you a bit. Why? Because you deserve it. You see, Aman contacted me about, I think, a year back. You sent me an
Year
email
back.
about a year back, and he was doing very good in Nakshatras part. And, he sent me a book before that, which he wrote, a wonderful poems book. And you see, always the thing with the poetry is now, Aman, a person with a dark heart cannot write a poetry because you have to get connected with the nature. You have to be you have to go to that deep end of your heart to write something with that kind of a dignity, with that kind of a love.
Yes.
So when you study poetry, because I love reading poetry, I love reading stories, and that's why what my teaching style is. I love telling stories.
Yes.
So when I read that poetry, I said he's a good guy because anyone who can make poetry like this, like you written for Ashlesha. And when I read that, I said, okay, it's a beautiful line he has written. And when I talked to you, you said you've learned it from your daughter, 3 or 4 years old, I think.
Yes. 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 Yeah, a lot of the
Then,
rhymes came from my family. Yes, you're right.
so when Aman, see, one thing about Aman is very, which I really love is, and I wish I had that quality, is he's very humble. Like he never hesitate to ask a question. Like he asked me whether I can come and learn the predictive course. And I said, you're doing very good in Nakshatra. Why you need to learn the science right now? I was teaching the predictive course back then. But I said, no, I want to be part. I will be silent. I will not disturb you. And he was very calm and listen, and then he will give the feedback on different parts. And he said, okay, this is how exactly I thought it. This is how I also vision it. So see, this is the common pattern, like the Rahul and Aries picture, which I explained to the painter. And when it came out, someone said, this is how I exactly imagined Rahul. And I cried while looking at it. So that was a common factor between me and Aman.
Yeah.
And this is a very good quality that when you see something, you appreciate it. Very, very few people have that kind of a humbleness. Now, when you would come to nakshatras, when I read the poetries or what I see nakshatras as these challenges which are given in our life. For example, someone born in Ashwini Nakshatra, Bhani Nakshatra, this is a cycle of 27 stars. So there's a challenge on one star, you complete it and you go to the another one. You have to master the energy of that very nakshatra. Such as the plant sitting in the Ashwini Nakshatra. Ashwini is said to give the blockages. That the person can have a blocked fallopian tubes, abortions. Reason being, because Ashwini has to pick a right moment to be born on the earth, because that's where the cycle starts. But then again, every single nakshatra pada has a story. Such as Ashlesha Pada 1. Why I'm mentioning Ashlesha Pada 1 today? Because when I read Ashlesha Pada 1, I remember of you, that you had that quality. What is Ashlesha Pada 1? The Bhagwan Shiv says, the fight will be because the person will not give respect to seniors. The person will experience all those bad things in his life. He will be deprived of family happiness. He will be very rich. The story says the person was a Brahmin and he used to do work of a cook. And he was corrupted. Now the whole pattern of the life is in this line. The first thing is person was Brahmin. It means a very educated person. He was meant to serve the society because that's what Brahmins do. They distribute their knowledge, they serve the society. Second part is not doing the Brahmin work. Why? Because he's doing the work of cook. Reason being, he's so addicted to food that instead of doing the Brahmin work, he said, okay, let me work in the kitchen so I can get the food regularly.
Right.
So instead of providing healing to masses, instead of giving out gift of food to other people, what he is doing is, he is taking care of himself first. Now in this particular life, whatever he will get the same challenge. Like the person graduated in engineering, a wonderful work, or in management, but he will say, okay, this business does not have that much money, let me switch it. In this particular life only, he will get so many chances to get, you see, Ashlesha Pada 1, you ask them, their boss, their father, their seniors are never happy with them. And this is the only remedy in their life to please give respect to seniors. And among the people who do not follow the guidelines, because that's how the Jupiter works, right? Jupiter is only guidelines, sign of Sagittarius. So people who say, oh, this does not matter, this does not work, what will it change if I give respect to anyone? What happens slowly, the happiness, because Jupiter represents your happiness, your wealth, your true wealth, your knowledge, all this will start depleting. All this higher learning will goes in zero. So that is why it's a sign of Cancer, Sagittarius, Navansh. Ashlesha Nakshatra Pada 1. It's a 4-6 combination, 1-6 combination. So fights with seniors has to happen. So anyone born in Ashlesha Nakshatra, if you see that, predict that you have to give respect to your seniors. This is the only remedy in your life you will ever require. Someone in Pushya, born in Pushya Nakshatra, tell him that stop, you're born with a privilege. Stop showing it off. We know you're born with privilege. Because the more you show off, more your punya is getting depleted. So all these qualities, when we read the stories, so what I've done is when I read the Karam Vipak Samhita, and I said, okay, the book has been translated from Sanskrit to Hindi, but no one has ever wondered why Lord Shiva has actually written that particular one line. To make sure that it has to be not taken in a literal manner, but has to be sorted out in the practical terms. So this is why when I wrote the book first book for the first 9 nakshatras.
जी.
Now you have it. I hope you liked it
Yes,
because
yes, yes. I
because
started to
that
read it. Yeah.
because this particular book was started written. But I'm not a writer. I'm very clear about it. I'm not. I do not have a very good grammar. I speak in
That does not
keywords
matter.
only. But on the night of Mahashivratri, somehow I started writing in 15-20 days. It was a holy night when I finished it. It was a 20-day gap between Mahashivratri to Holi. I wrote that book continuously. 20 days I finished it. So it was only the translation. From translation, I have to see that how it is getting manifested. And one thing is very clear is when you read about anything, like start reading about nakshatras or planetary energies or science, whichever nakshatra pada you will read, that will get active. You see, when we do prayers, what we do is we stand in front of God and what we do, we praise Him. We make that planet active.
जी.
So similar thing is with the nakshatras. So when we read about a particular nakshatra, what we're doing is we're thinking about him continuously because this is how the research process works. I mean, you know this more and better than me. The research process does not work in a day that you will open a book and you will write something. It will work. It will never happen.
Yeah. Yes.
But one day it will just click like lightning and it will be like, okay, this is what was meant out there. So it takes time when you read about nakshatras. It takes time to find out the original part. Like we did for the Hora chart. I sent you the Hora chart calculation for the day, right? The other calculation which I also shared with you. The reason why I shared with you is because when you go ahead and test it, the aim is the Jyotish should improve. If you read the Nakshatra book previously, if you look at the literature which is available, all of them have copied pasted. Most of them are copied pasted. Or you will see, okay, I cannot use it in my predictions. So that was not making sense to me. So when something is bad, what you have to do, you have to reinvent the wheel yourself. And I think that is what you are doing on your behalf. When I see your posts like lightning shoes, like your shoe colors are very bright. Okay, this is how you do it. Because continuously you have to think about it. Your clothes, your thinking pattern, your DNA is built in.
Yes, yes.
Pushya Nakshatra has a built-in DNA of the ego system. Like he has a very high ego. Pushya Nakshatras. Pushya Nakshatra has the quality to rise from ashes. Even in the worst condition, when you see, whenever you do a prashna and the moon is in Pushya Nakshatra, the answer is always positive. This is one of the prediction timing. This is one of the techniques of the prashna. The another one is moon is in 11th, moon is in Lagna. You can predict the native will be all right. But Pushya Nakshatra, very prominent. So this is how I see the nakshatra part, that you have to master that energy, every single planet. One thing I will add here for the students of Jyotish, you see fifth house, fifth house is one of the most important houses because that's a core open. You're born with it. In past life, you must have done some mistakes. That's why you got Rahu, Ketu, Saturn over there. There's no other reason why we have got all the malefics. Someone has got malefics in the fifth house. And person should learn that whenever there's a Rahu in fifth house or the sign of Aquarius in the fifth house, the only way the person will go down is due to jealousy. Or if Rahu is with fifth lord as well, this will also work. When Saturn is with the fifth lord, Saturn plays in fifth house, the only way the person will go down due to his own negative thinking. So whenever anyone comes in, and whichever nakshatra it is, the qualities of nakshatra will manifest through the planets. This is how it manifests, right? That whichever planet goes in that nakshatra, this is a nakshatra, the energy source, the planet only delivers it through his wisdom. So whenever you see these kind of combinations in the fifth house, you always tell people that think positive, stop jealousy. And these are basic traits of humanity. which people do not follow.
True.
If you tell that as a remedy, I can tell you a remedy for fifth house Saturn, right? Fifth house Rahu. Very wonderful remedy. People will love that. If it's something you have to be tied up, burnt, and you have to sell out something like of 10,000 rupees, people will love it. But if you give out that one simple advice, stop being jealous.
Yeah.
I think very few people are going to come back to you. You will be like the worst astrologer, or will say, okay, this astrologer does not know Jyotish.
Know anything? Yes. Yeah. That's true.
I think you also experience the same kind of feedbacks from other people and with Anshuji as well.
Yeah.
So when you give out very simple remedies, like every morning wake up 5 a.m., your remedies will work. That's the only remedy. Go out for walk. That's a remedy for Ketu basically, to go out for walk every morning. Plan
See,
things.
this is where Dipanshuji, sorry I'm interrupting you. This is where I connected with you. Because Gitanshu Bhaiya shared the same ideology because he focused more on the karmas. And I have seen a couple of your lectures, actually a lot of lectures, where you have also spoken about the karmic remedies, which requires your own effort.
Exactly.
Nothing will work if you're not putting the efforts in. So you have mentioned the same thing.
When you see the karmic patterns, now the one thing which I always say that when you go to the 8th house, Murde Ka Phool from Lal Kitab, the flower of the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Now, when I give him that remedy out, that whenever the planet is in 8th house, because 8th house you go out and 3rd house you come back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is why in 10th house, indeed in chart Dashanshu, whenever there's a planet in 3rd house, the person starts the new job. The 8th house is the end of career, wherever the Dasha runs.
Yeah.
It's a very simple technique. Similarly, whenever you see anyone who has earned fame in his life, that person will have a very strong 3rd house, because 3rd house is your courage. 3rd house, without 3rd house is your stripes.
Yes. Yes.
And from where I got this technique, like I was emailing to one of my bosses like several years back from Scotland, that this is wrong over here and this is this and this, and so many politics in the office. And he wrote me one line back. He said, you have to earn your own stripes. From there onwards, I got that technique. I said, okay, I remember that line. 3rd house, you have to earn your own stripes.
Right. Yeah.
So anyone who is born with, in Hora chart as well, which I've sent you, in Hora chart, if you see all the people who have gained money by their own efforts or by the music, these are the two peoples you will find they have 3rd lord in Lagna.
Okay.
Because when I did the research, I also made the patterns, like why someone is earning the money.
Yeah.
So someone had a Mars in Lagna in a Mercurian sign.
Okay.
So what does that represent in Hora chart? Mars in the Mercurian sign, that has to be some kind of instruments. This particular person had a 11th house exalted Jupiter, 2nd lord was Venus exalted in Kendra.
Yeah.
This particular person started his business from $100 of H&M Records. It's on Astrodata Bank.
Yeah.
And he sold it for $500 million in the Dasha of Jupiter only.
Okay.
So you see that in the Hora chart, it works beautifully. It should show that anyone who's born as an orphanage should be seen in the Hora chart.
Okay.
Anyone who is born as a millionaire, he should have a Hora chart of a millionaire. Because sometimes the Rashi chart was not giving the true picture. That is why we have to develop the Hora chart.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I just got deviated from nakshatras to all the other things which are going in my head. Now you see, I was at the 5th house remedies of Ketu, Rahu. When you wake up early, go for a walk planning, because Ketu is a planet which will get you distracted. And you will see the people with the ascendant lord with Ketu in Lagna, or wherever else your Ketu is placed, you're never focused over there. You try one thing, you start one thing, and you go all the way around, and that thing never gets completed. The best remedy for the Ketu is that you plan every single day, especially when it is in Lagna or with the Lagna lord. That you go on a walk, and while walking, you think about it, or what you have to do today. this will sort out the remedies of Ketu. But how many people will actually go out every morning and do this remedy?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Only 10% of them.
But these are the true remedies, the karmic remedies which I've told, which we were discussing. People go for the last rites of someone, and you will see that there are people who are talking on phone. They're checking their Facebook statuses. They're doing WhatsApp. The business is still running. The term was to pay final respects to the dead body. So anyone who has a planet in the 8th house should be very careful when he goes to the cremation of someone. First of all, he should go to the cremation of all the close relatives. And secondly, pay respects over there. When I say pay respects, do not go there and gossips. Because this is what the new trend is, that people, the phone does not leave people's hand, which is very irritating.
Right.
Like if you, Gitanshi, come to meet me, because we live in now in same city, and I keep talking about, and I keep looking at my phone while he's talking to me. This is a very rude thing. This is against the basic manners. But this is one thing which people have to learn. When you're going for the cremation of someone, that is a desire. That say someone has a sun in a malefic sign in the 8th house. It means in past life, while going out, you were not getting enough respect. And in this life also, while the final rights of your father, you should give your father the full respect, and you should do it fully. That's why sun in 8th house. One of the techniques was that the death of the father will be very sudden. But you should realize you have got the 8th house sun because in past life you have not given enough respect to your father. Right. Mercury in 8th house was the garland, flower garland you offer for the deads. So all these techniques of the karma of the moon 12th house, sun in 10th house, wherever it is, the karmic, they are basically lifestyle patterns, nothing else. Yeah. And if you know what is right, like internally you know that this is wrong, I'm going to the cremation of someone, I should keep my phone on silent. I should pay my respect to someone. If someone calls me that I'm in distress, and instead of helping him out, I start telling him all the other things. Yeah. I know on my part that I'm wrong somewhere.
Right. Absolutely. And I want to tell the audience, just like Dipanshuji mentioned about the signs and his predictive course, actually, which is a brilliant course. Actually, a lot of credit goes to Gitanshu Bhaiya, because whenever our audience knows that I have done many segments with Gitanshu Bhaiya, but he never spoke about nakshatras. And I was always hesitant to ask him about nakshatras, because every time I approached him, very humbly, like he said, how are your basics? First, tell me about your basics. Tell me about how good are you with the signs and the elements. And then I must be thinking, I'm okay. I'm thinking inside, I'm okay, but I'm not that good. So then I was like, no, before I approach him again, I have to learn about basics first, and I have to do very well in getting the science, what exactly the science means. So then I saw a couple of your lectures at that time, and I got really hooked, because the way you portrayed, the way you, I think, described the science, I think I have not seen any other lecture like that. Maybe there are certain books out there. So a lot of credit goes to Gitanshu ji, lot of credit goes to you. So now I can freely ask Gitanshu Bhaiya, what are your views on nakshatras? How you see nakshatras? Because the background he has 30 years of vast experience in Jyotish, and the way the logics, the way he put the logics, the practicality of Vedic Shastras he brings in to the society is commendable. So Bhaiya, I would love to know now. I think I have a good hold of science after learning from Dipanshu ji. How you see nakshatras, and what our divine shastra says about nakshatras.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me today. Dipanshuji,
Always.
we heard Dipanshuji at length. Very wonderfully he spoke about a lot of things.
Ji,
The Vedas have a very different take on this.
ji,
Okay. It is built up like a pyramid. The base is something else. At the top is the nakshatra. Why the nakshatra? Because they treat the nakshatra as the soul of the planet. So
ji,
I cannot just simply talk away straight away about the soul.
ji,
I need to talk about the person first. So we know that Dipanshuji is a very, very intelligent man with a beautiful soul.
ji.
But if I straight away start talking about the soul, people may not understand. So
Right.
the Vedas take it as a different take. It talks more about the environment,
Ji,
environment meaning the body of the planet,
ji,
how the environment is placed, how the planet is placed. Like, for an example, Jupiter is a natural benefic planet.
ji.
But in how many percentage in the entire world is it benefic for everybody?
Yes. I have seen working malefic. Yeah, many charts. Yes.
So the Vedas talk about the environment of a particular planet first. The environment includes a lot of things. Like if I say Aman Bedi may be made up of a lot of things. He's a son, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a friend, he's working, he's astrology. There are so many environments to you.
Ji,
Pinpointing something as deep as nakshatra initially, I generally don't talk about.
right.
Whenever I talk about the soul of the planet, we need to get down to the nakshatra. The first part is this. The second part is the nakshatra were more used in the Nadi Paddhati. The Nadi meaning simply as the pulse.
Ji,
So imagine that there were masters and gurus who could just hold your pulse and talk about your horoscope as of right now.
right.
Like in
Right.
the Ayurveda, they hold the pulse and tell you about your doshas, the Vat, Pitta, and Kapha, your body aches, your problems, your other things.
Yes.
Imagine you're sitting in somebody who does not want any detail from you, nor your hand, nor your numbers, nor your date of birth, nor your forehead, nor your feet, nothing. He just holds your pulse and he starts talking about it. Why was it so deep that at that moment of time, whatever is running through the body was running through the nakshatras? You will be so surprised that the time measurement in the Vedas, there is a separate book written called Siddhant Shiromani.
Okay.
That is a very interesting book. Why? Because it is talks about the principles of calculations.
Okay. Okay.
And there is one unit called Tatpara.
Okay.
That is 1/33750. If I'm not mistaken, 1/33750 part of 1 second.
Wow. Okay.
Can you believe it?
No, I
1
cannot.
second and 3750th part of a
Second.
1 second.
Second. 1 second.
1
Yep.
second. We had technologies or mastery of the nakshatra to this level.
Wow.
Why would we need calculation probably at that level? Maybe to define the speed of light or the energies entering my body or exiting my body.
See, Bishop.
So because people talk about nanoseconds, we've been talking about nanoseconds to the nanoseconds from, let's say, 40,000 years, 30,000 years past.
And
And
it is
this
mentioned in the Vedas.
Yes, why I quoted the book, because people may not be able to find the shloka in the Rig Veda, but they will find this book very easy.
Okay. Okay.
So
Dipanshuji
why
reads
I
a lot
do?
of books, so I'm sure he knows about it.
Oh, he must be. He must have gone through that book, maybe missed it, or maybe has it in his collection. I know he's got a huge collection. I can see it at the back side. This is maybe
That's only one part. I got two more downstairs.
Wow.
very beautiful, very beautiful. So there we use nakshatra as the environment. Let me give you an example to make
Ji,
my point a bit.
ji,
Let us say we are talking about Mars right now,
okay.
a planet called Mars. Why I chose Mars? Because Dipanshuji, unfortunately, is wearing red, and by chance I'm also wearing. So it just struck my mind that we talk
No,
about.
I also have somewhat looks like a red, but not red exactly. Yeah.
So let us say we have Mars. Now the environment of Mars is very, very strong. We understand.
Ji.
It's got high on energy in terms of scientific, in terms of red, or in terms of other things.
Ji.
When we talk about Mars, we talk more of the environment because it is a planet full of energy. Now, let's say the fiery planet is placed in the environment of air. Let us say I place it into number
Aquarius.
11. I specifically placing it into number 11.
My favorite sign.
So here you have Saturn, but here you have a nakshatra
Ji.
of Mars again there.
Okay.
Now, whenever you have an environment projecting another environment, making that environment more strong,
Ji.
generally that thing becomes a bit malefic or benefic.
Yeah. Yeah. I can.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the other example, let us say this Mars is now placed in number 3.
Ji.
It's the same trine 3, 7, 11.
Yes.
So it is now placed in number 3, which the air element is increasing your power of violence, your power of creativity, your energies, because Mars is very high there.
Yeah. Valor.
On top of that, you have a beautiful nakshatra of Dhanishta.
Right.
Okay. Now the environment is totally charged.
Ji.
Totally charged. There, another theory of nakshatra comes in, which is written in the Nadi Jyotish, is the theory of this seed in the tree.
Ji.
It is called the bij and the sphuta.
Yes.
That you have the seed, but what are you making out of that seed? Will you have so much of water, you have so much of heat, that will the seed grow properly? The seed, let us say Mars is in Mars nakshatra. The environment is also quite volatile. Okay. Now the environment starts to play a role there. Now Mercury gains an importance.
Right.
So this is why I generally don't talk, because the part where you understand the environment, that part is a bit difficult for people to understand at the first stage. Because nakshatra is like talking about the soul of the planet. So the soul of the planet is really very volatile. What is the status of Mercury? I put Mercury now in water.
Right.
So Mercury now is, to the people, it is debilitated. It is in Pisces. But to me, it is in water. And now it is in his own nakshatra, the last part called Revati. So you have a bij, the Mars, and you have the tree, the sphuta. Here, if the environment is not balanced, this Mars will become very, very volatile, killer. Like Dipanshuji said, the ego takes over. That you are modest and docile, I am your friend. If you are not, then probably God save you. But then this is not the right environment. The environment is controlled by 2 different places or 3 different places. Now imagine that this Mars is probably placed with Moon.
Right.
So you have that volatility in you. This Mars is placed in the ascendant. There is so much of anger in you that for little things where people don't get angry, you get probably, all pent up.
Yeah.
Now let's say this Mars is aspected by Jupiter. Still the environment, that is why I talk less about it, because these are the things that are always so interconnected. You cannot simply say that, okay, my Mars is in Dhanishta, so I am like this. It is not the complete environment. It is only a part of a chain. Where it talks about this dispositor, It talks about the lord of the dispositor. It even talks about the nakshatra of the dispositor. It talks about the aspect on the planet. It talks about the aspect of the nakshatra that which the planet aspecting holds. So today, we three are understanding at this drop of the hat what I am talking about. Or there must be astrologers understanding it. But for people common at large who listen to us, this is very confusing for them. That how can we pick up one nakshatra, squeeze the juice out of it, jump on to the next nakshatra, squeeze the juice out of it, mix both of them, see what is happening, and then we see the third environment. But this is how Nadi Shastra works. This is how the depth of astrology works. This is how the planet and the soul works. That is why I do not personally, I never talk about a nakshatra, sorry, when I am talking about planets. I only talk about planets. But if I need to understand the soul, that what, if today I want to understand what is Aman Bedi made of? What is Dipanshuji made of? To people, Dipanshuji has an outer garb. He's very intelligent man. But if I need to get to his soul, that what is the journey of the soul, then I need to rub off Dipanshuji as a person and I need to get down to his soul. When I talk about soul, that is where I start talking about the nakshatras. Then the person becomes oblivious. It is not Dipanshuji or Amanji or Gitanshuji anymore. It is that soul inside you that has probably taken a lot of births. You talked about Ashwini Nakshatra. You talked about how the soul is traveling, what all it is there. Likewise, whenever we point out to the nakshatra of a planet, we are talking about the soul of that planet. That soul is not connected to one source. That is again just like a cobweb is connected to very many pieces. So I am sorry to the other audience if I got a little confusing, but to my friends, they understood it instantly what I'm talking about.
No, I think me and Dipanshuji will absolutely enjoying what you're saying. It took me 1.5 years to ask you this question, actually. I tried personally a couple of times and you said, go learn the basics first, then come back to me. And then I went
basic,
to Dipanshuji.
Why I say basic? Why? Because today, if you go to an astrologer and you say my Mercury is debilitated, probably he'll start talking about the fact that you are unintelligent, you have mental illness, you have this, you have that, your maternals are like this, your paternals are like this. He will go on a different track. But if you ask me, some of the most intelligent people on earth are Mercury debilitated.
Yes.
Where else do you find the
one
intellect?
is sitting in front of us.
Yes, I know.
He has Mercury in Pisces. I remember you have mentioned in one of the lectures too.
Yes. See, one of the things about Pisces is now, any plant which is in Pisces environment will give you knowledge. That is why in Horasara, I'll quote the traditional shloka as well. In Horasara, it is written by Pratyashas, who is son of Varavira, that Mercury, if placed in sign of Pisces, will give the knowledge of Shastras, Vedas to a level that the person will surpass everyone. And then in the next slok, he says, the Mercury is debilitated. You see how he is mixing it up. He says, Mercury is debilitated, then the person will have these problems. So it means he's talking about the extreme debilation point just on that degree. He's not talking about the planet in Pisces. Any planet in Pisces, the person will, the person, level of the person will elevate you to that because Pisces gives you liberation. Now, due to that particular planet, the person will gain knowledge and get the liberation part. Very simple.
Yes, very simple. Yeah. And I really like the fact, Gitanshu Bhaiya, you have mentioned, because actually I think that is where I connected to nakshatras. Because if I would like to share a few points here.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Because you mentioned about the soul, in order to know the soul. So if someone asks me that how you see nakshatras, yes, there are many interpretations and variations I can put on. But at the very first level, I see, just like Bhaiya said, just like Dipanshuji mentioned, It is the blueprint of the soul. Why the Jatak has come down, why he has arrived. So in order to see the blueprint, because sign is 30-degree log, but the nakshatra further divided into 4 parts, 4 charans will give you a better filter in order to see the karmas of the soul, both inner and outer. Because I think what I have learned in the scriptures also, back in the days, back in the older days, our rishis, munis used to predict, used to do each and everything on the basis of taras. Signs were not there. They used to predict everything on the basis of taras. Today we call it a nakshatra. So, for example, for a better, because it is a way of like to determine the moon passage over the period of time. So, like for a better understanding for all the viewers, what I mean by that. So, for example, suppose if Lord Yudhishthir ji was born, or Lord Karna, or Dipanshu ji, or Gitanshu ji, or myself was born, our rishis or munis used to look at the taras where moon is transiting at that time. From that point of view, okay, moon is in Mrigashira, sun is in Rohini. They used to make the patri out of that.
Exactly.
So I really like that fact. And then the certain different aspects, like what the other variation is, what are nakshatras to me? If someone asks me, like these are the 27 abodes of the gods, of the 27 deities. Or in simple words, these are the 27 energy portals from where one can connect to the higher divinity. That's why I often use the hashtag, these are 27 friends. These 27 friends are here to guide us, to help us, not the other way around. Because I often see people talk about ill. They often talk about bad about certain nakshatras like Bharni or Purva Bhadrapada or Ashalesha, just like Dipanshu ji mentioned about the pending karma of Ashalesha nakshatra, how it can be dealt with in the current lifestyle. It's not like that. These planets are here, these grahas, these 27 deities are here to help us, to guide us, or to connect us with the higher divinity. So I would like to, the blueprint part, I would like to add on here. And there are certain other things which really attracted me, because when I used to do daily observation with the nakshatras, I think nakshatra itself is a big granth which one needs to decode. Just like Dipanshu ji tried in his book, the various techniques, it's a must read. One should read that how he has used the Karam Vibhag Samhita in a modern day. So it itself is a granth where we are using guna, gana, the direction, the color scheme, the sound scheme. The sound schemes, people are not putting enough emphasis. Just with the sound, you can decipher many million things in life. Just with the sound. And then I would like to add the trees, because I think the nakshatras are the ones, these 27 deities are the ones which connected me to the cosmos, which connected me to the mother nature, the Prakriti, the Mahadevi. Because only when we are connected to the mother nature, only then we will be more aware. And when we are aware, then we are more aware of the self-consciousness. So in every way, I think these nakshatras are helping us, all the deities. And also, we are only aware of 27 deities. What about if there are 33 or 83? Only we are aware of 27. Because I have read certain scriptures or certain articles of a very well-versed authors. They have talked about more than 27 deities. So that is also very important. And then also I would like to add, there is another point which I really wanted to add in this segment is how the Trinity, the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is working in the nakshatra scheme. It always fascinates me. Because when I'm cooking, I'm Brahma for my family. When I'm playing with my kid or when I'm playing a song, I'm activating Dhanishta. I'm a Vishnu for my family. When I'm cleaning my house, I'm the Shiva. So the Trimurti concept is very important when you're learning about the nakshatras. So that also fascinated me. That's why Gitanshu Bhaiya told me, if you're good at something, just try to master that. That's why I don't do anything else. A lot of people ask me, why you're not talking about Gemini. I always mention them, go to Dipanshuji or go to Gitanshuji. They know everything. I know very little about nakshatras, and I try to remain in my niche. So the Trimurti concept is very important. And the another reason is why I wanted to do this collaboration was, why I wanted to do this segment was because the ideology was the same as I have spoken. And Dipanshuji always give the reference, always talks about the scriptures. Gitanshuji also talks about the scriptures, that we need to connect more with the scriptures, more with the Shastras, because there is still lot of information which needs to be researched, which needs to be observed, which needs to be deciphered. Because I was reading on the other day in the Rig Veda, lot of emphasis has given to Lord Varuna, and they say, like in the Rig Veda, it is mentioned that he's the one who put all the nakshatras in the heavens. Not many people are aware of that. I have put it in one of the articles too. And also I was reading in Taitya Brahmana, again, we have to stick to the scriptures. In Taitya Brahmana, it was mentioned that there are 3 Indras. We only know that, and there are 3 Indra nakshatras, which is Indra, Chitra, Jyeshta, and Shatabisha. But in the Vimshotri scheme, we know that Chitra is ruled by Twastar. But what the other scriptures are saying, we need to decipher that as well. We need to see from that angle as well. There are 2 Rohinis. And in Gita, again, Lord Krishna says, among the water creatures, I am the Varuna.
Yes.
So I have done a lot of segments on the trees, how trees are related. Each and every Aushadhi, every remedy is out there in the trees. No need to go anywhere. So why certain trees are associated with certain nakshatras? What are their importance? Like, just to give an example to the audience, it is a no coincidence, the biological name of a tree associated with Purva Falguni is monosperm. And we all know Purva Falguni ruling planet is Shukra. So how beautifully the biological name also matching with the ruling planet. How the characteristics of the Palash tree is matching with the Purva Falguni trait. Every answer is there in the scripture. And this was my vision, to bring these two together, including myself, that we need to go back, read more about from the scriptures, read more from the Upanishads, whatever is available out there, and try to decode, try to observe. Because I think this is Jyotish in today's world. It's all about the game of observation. More you're observing, more you're aware. More you're aware, more you know about your internal strengths. So what do you think about that, Gitanshuji and Dipanshuji? Like, I can talk on, when it comes to nakshatras, I can talk non-stop, but here today,
it's your enthusiasm. You see, I did Nakshatra part 1. And after that, I took a break. But it's, I think, almost 1.5 years I've not taught any course. But I think it's your enthusiasm who's pushing me to do the Nakshatra part 2 to give out more. When you say about the Bharani Nakshatra, now you mentioned Bharani Nakshatra. Because see, when you talk about different nakshatras, you ask me, I will tell you the techniques.
Yes.
Bharani Nakshatra, one of the prominent features of Bharani is that during the pregnancy, the umbilical cord is wrapped around if the Bharani is affected. Why? Because first of all, Bharani is a water bag and you're dependent on others. Why are you dependent on others? Because in Ashwini, you are too independent. You are soul. So you were traveling like a soul independently and you were choosing out that I do not want to wish to born here. I do not wish to born here. And you are getting conceived and getting flushed out. But in Bharani, to take that independence back, always see the Ashwini Nakshatra natives. They're very independent in their life. They never want to listen to anyone. They are always very picky that I do not want to do this job. I do not want to do this. Wherever the Ashwini Nakshatra is in the chart, even if it's fall on the cusp, they're very independent there. So when it comes to Bharani, that's restriction. Now the nature will teach you the value of discipline. So why the umbilical cord is wrapped around? Because the Bharani has taught you that even in the stomach you cannot move now.
Wow.
This is the life. This is the discipline you have to learn in this life. See the Bharani Nakshatra natives now. Very one common thing. If sun is in Bharani, then father, moon in Bharani, mother, or in the native himself, whichever planet goes in Bharani. People will line up at their house in the front to meet them, and they will do not want to meet.
Yes.
Go and test this technique. That ask whenever you see the Bharani native, that people will come at your house and you will refuse. Why? Because everyone wants to meet the Yamraj, but the Yamraj says, I do not wish to meet you.
Want to meet. Yeah.
Because I cannot change my rules because of you. Whenever you're going to meet me, you're going to ask me something which I cannot give. What you can ask from Yamraj, you can ask for life, and you can ask for to meet your ancestors. I cannot give any of that. So please do not come and meet me. That's why the Bharani Nakshatra narrative, it's built in DNA to tell people that I'm not going to meet you. That is why the discipline is a key factor in the life.
Yes.
Because of the Yam. In Ashwini, he did a lot of free will. In Bharani, experience the value of restriction.
Restriction, restraint. Yes.
Similarly, in Chitra, you mentioned Chitra as an Indra Nakshatra. Whichever planet goes in Chitra has to go through a test.
Yes.
Because like this sculpture, what does the Vishkarma does before even starts constructing? Like before even I teach you,
Yes.
I should ask you questions, and I did that in your case as well.
You did.
Because I have to make sure that you're worthy enough to be molded into that particular scripture, whether you will break in between or not. I have to test that mold. So that is why any planet goes in Chitra Nakshatra has to be tested first. That is why when Venus goes in Chitra Nakshatra, it becomes very difficult for the native to trust other people. He'll keep on testing him.
Yes. This is
So your understanding, you know that. So your understanding of Nakshatra, when you see the enthusiasm in Aman Bedi, that how much he's bringing out by the nature. And when you say trees, see, this is where I really appreciate you, that when you tell people to plant trees.
Yes.
Every one of us are born on this earth with a certain amount of depth. There are two depths of sun and moon in the chart, which no one can pay back. That is why I always recommend Purnamashi, dark nights, and Sakranti. Donate from your hand, respect your parents. Number one. Second depth is for the earth, natural resources. You told about Varuna. Do not waste water in your life because you cannot create it back.
Absolutely bang on. Yeah.
People who waste water are going to experience troubles in their life which they cannot solve. You start saving water, you'll start getting rich. Why? Because moon is wealth. People who have dirty water tanks in their house,
Yes.
or they waste water, the RO water. Nowadays, the RO is a big problem.
Yes.
If you have RO in your house, if you're wasting that particular water in your house, eventually your money is going to get wasted. When you plant trees back, you're giving back to nature. That is why the Earth Tattva, Prithvi Tattva.
Yes.
You can give out the yantra made of the Prithvi Tattva. It will work to an extent. But why the person is experiencing? Because he's taking so much load from the nature. You keep on consuming the trees, you keep on consuming the fruits, you keep on consuming the water, but you're not giving back anything to it. Like in Corona time period, we all see the money is useless.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you plant trees,
Yes.
and it does not matter which day it is, there's no nakshatra required from it. You can do it on the nakshatra, like Bharani nakshatra, you can plant the amla tree. This is one of the remedies. But whenever you will plant it, after a certain time period, it will give you results.
Absolutely.
Because you're paying back your debt. So
I
that
have,
is why
yeah.
Saturn in fourth house, just let me complete this. Saturn in fourth house, the curse is the person has made water dirty in the past life. The Bhrigu Samhita says the person has stole food because Saturn is a stealing and fourth house is food. Saturn, the person has stole food from someone in past life.
Right.
So that is why in this life, what is the remedy? Please do not waste food and donate food to others. This is the only remedy you have in life. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. Now even I forgot what I was meant to say. Like when you were mentioning about the trees, Dipanshu, you will not believe I have tons of emails. Tons of emails when I did a series of plants and connecting them with the nakshatras. Lot of Western people, people from our India, connected to me and they said just by serving the tree, especially which is related to their nakshatras, sun, moon, or ascendant, they have seen tremendous results. I have tons of,
Okay.
and it is there on my YouTube also. One can watch it as well. And the Bharni technique, which you were mentioning, I think it is very much mentioned in your book as well. You have beautifully
Yes.
explained 3-4 techniques for every nakshatra. And what I have seen for Bharni natives, if someone wants to take a taste of that, how beautifully, when you do the research and you test it out, how beautifully the technique works. I posted an article on Lord Yamaraj on a Bharni day that wherever the Bharni is, because I think you are the only person I met in my circle who says that all the 27 nakshatras are working all the time.
Yes.
This is the another topic to discuss at some other point because people think that they have only 9 planets and along with the ascendant, only 10 nakshatras are active. What about you have name as Chitra?
The day I will reveal the Ravan Samhita
Ji.
and the techniques of Ravan Samhita, people have their eyes open.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. And I have read tidbits of Ravan Samhita. So in the Bharni technique, what I have seen, so wherever the Bharni falls, the Yama noose will be felt. We all
Yes.
know about that. So the restraint of Yama will be felt in that house. So for example, if to give an example for the better understanding to the audience, so like for example, a Scorpio ascendant, Aries goes into the 6th house. You will always
Yes.
feel the Yama's news dealing with the enemies, dealing with the health issues. Always try it out. I have posted an article. A lot of people get back to me. Like it is working wonderful. Same with the Purvashada. It's related to war. Like on a basic level, on a superficial level, it is related to war. So wherever the Purvashada is, or take the Kaspal degree of the Purvashada, there will be the war related to that, into that house. If it's in falling into your
Exactly.
10th house, you are always at the war in your career.
Exactly.
So one has to, again, observe more, try more, be more aware. Simple as that. That's our motive today of 3 of us, to connect you to the Shastras, to connect you to the Mother Nature, to connect you to the Prakriti, to connect you, to promote you, to convince you to do more research and more observation. So
Exactly.
one thing, Gitanshu Bhaiya, what are your thoughts on that? How you?
Yeah. My thoughts are a bit different, like I just shared.
Ji,
So it is a different approach to this. Mine
ji,
is not always that selective that straight away I pinpoint at the nakshatra. To
ji,
me, the
ji,
environment matters a lot, and nakshatra fine tunes it. And I have a different take on it. Whenever I talk about nakshatras, then I have to go really, really deep into the chart. Really deep means the planets. That final conclusion that I draw, as I just mentioned, that whenever I talk about the journey of the soul, that what relatives are important, why we are here, what is the purpose. We get this question more often now. People are starting to write to me also that there is no one sole purpose of an individual. We are connected to so many dots at so many places. Like I said, sir, we are sons, we are husbands, we are fathers, and we have friends. At times people come to us, meet us. There are so many respects to us. Likewise, planets also have a very huge environment. So my theory is a bit different. I generally straight away do not pinpoint to the nakshatra straight away. To me,
ji.
if a planet is in a particular nakshatra, to me the environment matters more.
No.
how the planet is placed, what kind of a tattva is being promoted or being balanced. Like I just said, that if you're talking about the energy of the Mars, how a dispositor is helping to control the energy of that Mars. How an aspect of a planet is so important to control that negative energy. Same thing happens with positivity also. We have such wonderful planets. Some people get such beautiful horoscopes where planets are so powerfully placed, but unfortunately they do not get the results of that.
Right.
What is
Right.
working at behind? What you see is not what you get in astrology.
Absolutely.
In life, what you see is what you get. But in astrology, what you see, you may not get it. What is happening behind the picture? How God comes into existence? Why Prakriti is playing with you?
Yes.
How you have an aggressive mind at times, but when it comes to a certain things, you become very quiet.
Right.
Like Dipanshuji said, I tend to get this way, but he's not this way when it comes to a particular thing that we are talking about right now.
Right.
His
Exactly.
association is very deep, but his temper may not be that stable. So there is so many things to a particular moon that when it comes to knowledge, it behaves in a different manner. When it comes to people, it behaves in a different manner. Now he's living in isolation and he's happy because he gets so much of time to himself to think.
Right.
So you understand that a person is a bit
The
short-tempered.
environment. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The ego part is there, but when it comes to knowledge, he's totally a different person.
Person. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there is amalgamation of so many beautiful things that come on to make a human being.
Exactly.
Like the Shastra says, there is this intellect, buddhi. There is this wisdom.
Yeah.
So you have a Mercury, you have a Jupiter. There is this Dharya, there is Saturn. There is the ultimate knowledge, Brahma, called Surya. On top of that, you have the Man. In spite of having all the knowledge of the world, you may get corrupted at an unknown level, which is not in your control, called Man.
Exactly.
So the importance of nakshatra of the moon. What is your Man made of? But people generally say, which I feel I do not follow, they may be right. I do not straight away jump to the nakshatra of the moon. To me, the environment of the moon is more important.
More important.
How is the watery element in your body balanced? Like you talked about Varuna, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how is the thing balanced? The air is the medium of communication. I am thinking about Dehradun right now. He's sitting in Dehradun. In a second, I am in Dehradun. You are sitting in Canada. In a second, I am in Canada. I have been there. I've seen that. I have this place. He's stationed that place. There is no such thing as the mind is the fastest medium to travel. That is why the sages use it to time travel. You know,
Yeah.
instantly sitting back, they could go to the past, see what you've done,
Yeah.
come back to your
Yeah.
birth and say, "Bacha, ye nahi, this won't happen. You did not
Right.
give, so you're not getting a child. You did not do this, so you're not getting it." To them, the time, maybe the unit of travel or the milliseconds or micro milliseconds that they use. But to me, the environment as a whole plays a lot of importance, because I know people are in different segments. You are not the same with everybody,
Yes.
but you have one mind.
Yeah. Same way.
You have one mind, but that mind is not same at every
Every time.
situation with everybody. So my take is a bit different. Like I said, I move it like a pyramid. The base to me has to be very strong, and the final conclusion is the tip of the pyramid, which is the nakshatra. So I generally
And
don't talk about
yeah.
it.
Yeah. And
Yes,
I
please.
really admire that. So I know you have said a couple of times you're old school. I love going to old school. That's why I came to old school. So
No,
I like that way.
we are all old school. I
Yes.
have heard Dipanshuji at length today. So beautifully has explained so many things. So this
Yes.
is our old school. To me,
Yes.
a lot of people call me, "What is your take on?" I said, I don't do any sort of a research. My problem is this, because I am not able to understand 0.00001% of the Shastras till now. Who am I to do any sort of a research in anything? To me, picking up certain things and to understand in the depth is more important to me. Why nakshatra was important? Because you start your Vimshotri Dasha at the nakshatra at the pad level. You know, really at the point level, where you calculate the days, the hours of what you missed and where you are starting. This is how the Vimshotri Dasha starts. But to me, I used to wonder when I was a student that why don't they start it from the ascendant? Because my body is important.
Right.
Why don't I start it from the Surya? My Atma is important.
Is more important.
Why I started from the moon? Why the man so important? Because they knew that you can control every environment outside your body. Remedies, no remedies, but you cannot control your man.
Man.
You cannot control your internal mind, the mind that is that illogical mind that you are not able to understand. So they started the Vimshotri Dasha from there, that please start and understand what environment you will go through.
Great.
So for me, Nakshatra is very, 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 very deep, but it has to follow a certain pattern, and you reach to the cobwebs, you know, the spider's web, which is so tangled, so tangled, so tangled. So this is my take, a simple take on how I see it. This is my take.
No, that is why, Bhaiya, that is why I requested Dipanshuji also. I requested you also, because I wanted to give out the audience the three perspectives which we have. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is saying that we are perfect, but we are giving you what we think nakshatras is, what we think our definition is. That's what I liked about Dipanshuji, because he's always open. He's always open to the new theories. And I wanted to take his views also, that how he sees, even though I have read his book, even though I have learned science from him, but on visually one-on-one, I never did it. So it was a wonderful opportunity. I think a lot of audience will benefit this, and they will get the gist out of it is that these guys are somehow telling us to connect with the Shastras. That's our sole vision of three of us. Right, Dipanshuji? What do you think about that?
See, Aman, one beautiful thing about this session is now all three of us have a different visions regarding the nakshatras.
Yeah.
Like Gitanshi says, I want to see it on a pyramid level. I want to see the dispositors. I want to see the juice out of it. I want to see the soul part of it.
Yeah.
While you and me, we want the predictive part of it, right? We just want to go one plant, one nakshatra, like we did for we discussed so many techniques in that, like you said, for burning.
Yeah.
To accept other people and to be open-minded to learn new things. Because what happens is, when you do not accept new people, that is the first mistake you do in learning. Because then you're closed. You cannot learn anything new. You've already rejected the idea that I know everything. Now nothing can be changed. So if I do not listen to Gitanshuji, and while discussion, like me and you, when we have discussions, there are certain points when I say, okay, this is not going to work. And you will say, okay, Dipanshu sir, it's not going to work. I've tried it. And when I say, when we did the Hora chart and when we did the Nakshatra pass, there were days, like for the Hora chart, I asked for the feedback from everyone I've sent the Hora chart. I said, if it fails, let me know.
Yeah.
The reason being, because I want it to fail. I've counted other day, I've already done 600 charts on it.
Wow.
The percentage is very high. The success percentage and the amount of prediction I can do from the Hora chart is very high. But I still want to see, because it's my research, I might be biased in it. Your brain is a very powerful tool and he can trick you into it that, okay, this is working. So that is why I sent it out to a couple of people and said, okay, try this new Hora chart and please let me know if it fails. I want it to fail. Tell me in which chart it fails. Why it fails. Reason being, because when it will fail, it will stop. I have not given out the calculations yet to anyone, even on the YouTube. Reason being, I'm still waiting for the feedback. I've given out like 10 people. I've received feedback for 6 or 7 of them, 3 of them still waiting. So I'm still waiting that 3 people come back. Let me have a complete picture. I will have at least 150 charts, because 15 chart sheets, 150 charts from 10 people. And I will have analytics that, okay, this much does not work. You should be ready to fail at any point of time in the research, even if it's a 3-year-long research. Just tell it does not work, leave it, move ahead. But let's suppose that, if Gitanshuji is telling me that I want to see the pyramid and I want to see the soul part of it, and I say, oh, Gitanshuji does not work. I do not want to learn it. Why? Because it's not used to me, because I do not do predictions like this. But I should understand what he is telling is from his perspective. That part is important to him, because that's how he do the consultations. When Aman Bedi will do the consultation, he does it in a different manner.
जी,
When I do consultations, I have a different flow chart. We all have different priorities in life, which we are following. What my priority is different from Aman, is different from Gitanshuji. That is why we have different objectives and different viewpoint in regarding nakshatras, and you should be acceptable to all. So that is why when I read the book, I always feel whenever you read a book, there's always the energy of author in that particular book.
yeah,
Like when you read autobiography of a yogi, right? You feel that you're in a trance world. After 5, 7 pages, you just goes, okay, I have to go for a walk. Because that's the energy of the book.
yeah,
That books give you happiness or sadness. Like there are some books when I read, I get panicked. Why? Because there's so much of negativity written in that book that I do not feel, reading about it. So that is why I stopped reading some of the writers, even in Jyotish.
wow,
Because I do not want to read the book to learn about how bad someone was, because this is not my objective. This is not solving my purpose.
right,
My objective is to grow, learn, and grow more. That is why to call you at any point of time, I do not hesitate, because someone will be ready to listen. To email Gitanshu ji and tell him something, I will never hesitate. Why? Because Gitanshu is open to listen to me. He will say, okay, Dipanshu ji, I've looked at it. It does not work. And I'm okay with it. But let's suppose Gitanshu ji give me a feedback or you give me a feedback. Dipanshu, this is not working. Like with the Jupiter promise techniques, we had a lot of discussion.
जी,
And if I keep telling you, oh, you are a stupid fellow, you do not know anything, you should not learn from me. This is what this kind of language and with this kind of attitude, it will not promote Jyotish.
yeah,
The objective should be that Jyotish should improve and the knowledge should come out in real terms. And this will happen when every one of us will be open to further discussion.
yep. So I really thank you, Dipanshu ji, for taking the time out from your busy schedule. I know you're a very busy person. I'm really, really, really humbled, really happy. And same goes for Gitanshu Bhaiya, even though he never says no to me. Because even if he says no to me, I know his house, I will go there. You have to do it. So far I don't have your address, so I cannot do it to you. But thank you again for accepting this and coming together, because this is also was one of my another vision, to come together. We are all together. Because I was laughing on the other day before the recording, because there is a lot of bureaucracy and politics in every department. So which is more these days in every department. I should rather not say anything else. So, but the main motive is we are all together, because that's why I have done a lot of other collaborations with other astrologers as well.
Exactly.
So this was one of my vision. जहां भी ज्योतिष का ज्ञान मिले, I will be the first one in the queue.
I think you should bring Sunili ji as well, because she was the one who introduced both of us, right?
Yes, she was the one who actually gave me the lot of courage. Okay, like the lady who has such a vast experience and such a humble and noble lady, she's inviting Dipanshu ji on her channel. Like I am no one in the, like meri aukati kya hai? I think I should be the first one to call tomorrow, and which I did. And I told her as well, like, thank you for giving me this courage. This is such a humble gesture from her. So maybe in future we will invite her as well and do the another group session on further segments on different topics.
Exactly.
So
Because when I
thank you,
wrote that particular blog of Shiva, one of the blogs on the Lunar Astro, she was the first one to call me out. She was the first one to said, you have written a very wonderful article, because I was very hesitant to write that blog.
Ji.
It was something which should not have gone out. But when I wrote it, she was the first one to call me up and said, okay, Panch, you've written it very beautifully. Just let me know how can I help you in this.
Ji.
And again, the Hora chart as well, she's helping out.
Oh wow.
So I hope you will call her as well, because the amount of experience she carries
Yes.
is really worth it.
Yes. Yes. Because I want to tell the audience, this is just the beginning. We will do more further segments, because on Namkaran, I know you have done, Dipanshuji, you have done a lot of research on that. And I am also researching on my part. Like, I want to give a gist to the audience what I'm researching. Like, you must have seen why certain dignitaries are famous on certain platforms, but they are not famous on the other platforms. There has to be some logics, there has to be some reasons, and Jyotish has every reason for that.
Exactly.
So naam mein hi sab kuch rakha hai, and how the sounds, how the nakshatras are working. It's a beautiful research and it's still ongoing, but maybe on some other time we will do further segments. But again, thank you,
No
Dipanshu
problem.
and Gitanshu Bhaiya for coming. It was a beautiful segment, and I hope the audience will get a very good information out of it. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you,
Thank
Aman.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.